We love excuses, don't we? They keep us safe, they keep us where we are, and they keep us doing the same thing again and again. But when you are a manager and you want to be a respected and trusted leader, excuses need to go out the door. You need to kick them out so that you can level up and step up and be the manager that people need you to be. Which is why I'm talking about this in today's episode. I'm still hearing too many excuses. I'm still seeing too many excuses come up and be a problem and stop managers from being really effective and being really great leaders, which of course impacts their people and how their people feel and how they show up at work. And then managers wonder why they don't have a high performing team. Hey, I'm Tash, Pieterse, Certified People Leadership Coach, helping you to become a leader people actually want to follow. And in today's episode, I'm going to share 3 excuses that you as a manager need to stop making right now, or maybe you need to have a chat with someone who's making these excuses so that you can be a leader people actually trust and respect. Now, I mentioned that this is coming up a lot. I was actually going down a Reddit hole where I jumped on Reddit and I was like, what is going on right now? What are people talking about? What are they experiencing at work? These excuses tend to come up quite a lot. Not directly with what people are sharing on Reddit, but I read between the lines and I go, well, I know the reason why this problem is coming up because of this excuse, or I know the reason this is coming up, it's because of this thing that this manager is not doing. And I also had a chat with a friend over the weekend who shared her experience from her last workplace around her managers not being anything like what I talk about managers needing to be. So I knew that this is probably a timely episode to come out. And as we're in our last week of enrollment for VIP Leaders, my leadership program, this is the last round for 2025. So if you are interested in learning how to stop these excuses and step up and level up so your people actually trust and respect you, then this program will absolutely help you to do that. If you're interested in finding out more about it before registrations close next week, go down into the show notes, click VIP Leaders and find out more. And I would love to see you in there. So what are the 3 excuses? I'm just going to jump straight in so we can talk about them. And I'm going to keep this episode short and sharp to make this really tangible and make this really helpful for you. The first excuse is, I don't have time. And I hear this a lot. I even hear this with managers who are interested in doing my VIP Leaders program, that I don't have time right now. It's just a really busy time. There is never going to be enough time. There is never going to be this ample amount of time that just magically appears and makes itself available to you. That's not how time works. You need to create time. And here's the kicker. Whatever time you don't make right now to do the things that you need to do, to have the conversations that you need to have, you are going to have to make time later. You're going to have to make time to deal with this thing later. And often the time that you have to make later is more time because it's become a bigger issue, or because you need more time now to solve it or work it through or have the conversation. So this excuse that we talk about, I don't have time right now. Sure, I'm not saying it's not true. It is true in the moment. The reality that you need to think about is, how much time is this going to cost me later? Because whatever we don't pay now, we pay later, without a doubt. So what are some examples of where you need to really challenge yourself with this? The biggest one is, I don't have time to deal with this problem. And I see this happen a lot. There's a small kind of issue happening. You've noticed a small issue with one of your team members. Maybe they've missed a deadline. And this happened. This was a scenario that I worked through with one of the managers in the last VIP Leaders group. And she let it slip. She's like, oh, it's not a big deal. They ended up doing it 2 days later. It's fine. Like, it got done. And she said, I didn't really have time to deal with it, and it got sorted out anyway. So, okay, on the surface level, not a big deal, small issue, totally fine. What happened then was, over the course of the next 3 months, this person continued to miss deadlines and kept handing in things late and finishing things late. Then after about the 5th or 6th time, she tried to address it really fluffily, and this person said, oh, sorry, I've got a DJ gig and I just fall behind sometimes. But this is now impacting work. It's impacting other people needing to get work, and it's impacting their customers. So I had a conversation with her and said, look, whatever we don't deal with now, even when we think that it's a small issue, it will often compound into big problems later that take more time, more energy, and more courage to deal with. And the other thing that we need to really think about is that when we don't deal with things early, it becomes a habit. People assume that this is now accepted and that it's okay. And so that when we try and address it later, they're like, well, this wasn't a problem the first time I did it, so why is it a problem now? And this is something that we need to really, really consider when we're trying to trade off whether we deal with something or not. So that's example number one, not having the tough conversation that you need to have because right now you don't have time. It's going to cost you hours later, not only in having to deal with it later, but also the energy that it's going to take up thinking about it. Another example, I hear a lot of managers say, I don't have time to have one-on-ones with my team, and they don't seem that engaged anyway. One-on-ones are really, really important. It's a way to connect to your people, and it's a way to have a conversation that's more about work. Your one-on-ones should not be work in progress meetings, task updates, project updates. Like, that's not what you talk about. You're talking about the person and what's going on for them, recognizing progress, recognizing wins, and talking about what they want to focus on, what's challenging them, what does the next 3 to 6 months look like. Your one-on-ones need to be really person-centric. It needs to be really focused on them so that they're engaged. People love talking about themselves. We love it. And our job as a manager is to create a space where people can talk about themselves and what's going on. So that might require some work on yourself, but also it might require some structure into your one-on-ones. And I do have my free one-on-one playbook that you can grab in the show notes as well, which will help give you structure to those conversations. But ultimately, if you don't make time for those one-on-ones every month, every 2 months, your people are going to disengage. They're going to become more and more dissatisfied with their work, and they're eventually going to resign because they're not going to feel recognized. They're not going to feel valued and cared for. And I also hear a lot of complaints about one-on-ones. People are like, oh, I'm so sick of one-on-ones with my manager. It's because they're not being run well, because they're not effective. And so it's really important to make one-on-ones really productive and effective and make people feel like they're getting something out of them. Another one that's a really important one, and I focus on this particularly in VIP leaders, we spend a whole 2 weeks on success planning, how to actually properly plan so that you can get the most out of your week. And this is not taking the time to plan your calendar at the start of the week or for the week, and then feeling really overwhelmed and frazzled as you're trying to get through your week and you're trying to jump from one thing to the next without having some kind of idea or plan or structure around how you're going to work. Yes, you might save 30 minutes of planning time today, but you're going to waste minutes, more than 30 minutes, maybe hours every week, jumping from one thing to the next, not knowing what you need to focus on, not knowing where your attention needs to go. So this is such a key one, right? If you make the excuse of, I don't have time, whatever time you don't make right now, you're going to have to make for later, and you're going to have to make a lot more of it. So if this is something that comes up a lot for you, maybe you have an unconscious pattern of, I don't have time for this, I'm so busy. I want you to really challenge yourself to take a step back and audit your time. What are you spending time on right now? What are you spending time on doing? How much time is being spent on things that don't matter? How much time is being spent on things that aren't productive, that aren't yielding you the results that you need? Can they be delegated? Can they be moved somewhere else? Can they be stopped altogether? And my workload audit actually helps a lot with this. So you can grab my workload audit down in the show notes as well. Excuse number 2. This is another big one that comes up, especially if you have some people-pleasing tendencies, which I know many of us do because, hey, we're human. And look, I know that it can be really challenging. Excuse number 2 is I don't want to upset them. I don't want to do what I need to do because I don't want to upset them. I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be mean. But look, being liked it's part of our DNA. It's part of how we belong. It's part of how we fit in with a group. We like to be liked. And look, you're human. I do it too. I like to be liked. The thing though is, as a manager, this actually creates more damage. If you spend more time wanting to be liked by people, you are going to spend less time being effective as a leader. And when you shy away from doing what is necessary, doing what's hard, doing what's uncomfortable because you want to be liked, eventually this is going to kick you in the ass because people are not going to respect you. They're not going to trust you. And eventually they're going to leave because they don't have a manager that does what is necessary. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that VIP Leaders, my leadership development program, is currently open for enrollment. VIP Leaders is my signature program that helps you strengthen your leadership identity, build trusted influence, and level up your emotional intelligence to become a leader people actually want to follow. The next round is starting very soon in September 2025. So if you are interested in leveling up your leadership skills, giving you everything that you need to be a leader people actually want to follow, head down into the show notes and click VIP Leaders to find out more. And if you've got questions, reach out and let me know. All right, let's head back to the episode. What are some examples? Not setting clear expectations because you don't want to micromanage. Well, guess what? When expectations are unclear, when they're not set at all, you end up micromanaging because there is lack of clarity. You don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. So you end up checking in all the time. That's what creates micromanagement. When you are unclear in your expectations, you actually micromanage more. Yes, it might feel uncomfortable to set really clear expectations, but it is absolutely necessary. Another one where this excuse really, really causes problems is not wanting to give direct feedback because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings. We don't want to be mean. Honestly, if we don't give direct feedback to people, they don't know what needs to change. They don't know where they can grow and improve. And as a manager and a leader, that is our job. Our job is literally to help them be great at their job, to help them be successful, to create the conditions where they can do great work. And part of that is giving really clear feedback. And again, your job is not to be liked. That is not your sole purpose of being a manager. Your job is to make sure that they perform well, they hit results, and they've got an environment where they can do great work, which relies on getting good feedback. And there's actually some data that came out earlier this year where 65% of employees want more feedback. That's wild. That means that only 35% of people believe that they're getting adequate feedback from their managers, and 65% of people want more feedback. They want to hear more about what's working, what can they do more of, where can they improve, what can they change. Because people who are high performers, they want to do better work. They want to know how they can grow and expand and learn more. So this is your responsibility. It is your responsibility to give direct feedback. And if you sit behind the excuse of, I don't want to upset them, or I don't want them to think that I'm mean, you are actually doing so much damage for your people, and you're doing them a really big disservice. When we can give feedback well, we can make it really relevant, specific, and useful for people. We give so much more opportunity for success. And I teach you exactly how to set clear expectations and give radical, candid, direct feedback to people in a way that people actually want to hear it in VIP Leaders. So make sure you jump in if this is something that you really need to work on. Okay, excuse number 3. It takes too much time. It's just easier if I do it. Oh my God, this excuse. It's just easier if I do it. It'll take too much time to explain it. This excuse comes up more often with people who were exceptional individual contributors. So if you were an exceptional individual contributor, you were great at your job before you became a manager, this is likely an excuse that might come up a bit more for you because you are used to doing your job all by yourself. You're used to doing everything that you need to do in order to get everything done. And there is a sense of control in that. There is a sense of reliability in that because I can rely on myself. And I know that if I do it, it's done. And I know that if I don't do it, it's my fault. But as a manager, when we step up to this level, our job becomes giving our people what they need to get the job done. And often that is giving away some of the fun work, giving away a lot of the things that actually shouldn't be on our plate for them to do. And it can feel really uncomfortable because we're letting go of an element of control when we do that. Because I have to trust that my team will follow through. I have to trust that they will do what they need to do. This is where clear expectations comes in though. The clearer your expectations, the more likely they are going to perform and to get you the results and outcomes that you're looking for. But if you hold back, if you step back and don't delegate, again, you are doing more damage for your team. One, because you are going to become more overwhelmed by trying to do it all yourself, which means that you have less energy and capacity to actually support your team, which, again, that's literally primarily your job. And number two, people are going to become disengaged in their work because they're not getting things to level themselves up. They're not getting things that grow them and develop them and challenge them. So if you are keeping all of the quote unquote hard tasks or the big task or the interesting or fun tasks to yourself, your team are eventually going to resent you. They're going to think, what's the point of working here? What's the point if I'm not growing, getting anywhere? What's the point if my manager doesn't even trust me to do my job? I'm just going to go somewhere else. And how much is that going to cost you? How much is that going to cost you to lose your team and to have to replace them and to go through all of the saga all over again? I know that letting go of control is challenging. It is. However, it is your job to give your team what is necessary for them to succeed. And often that means delegating work that is best done by them. So really looking at what are your team's strengths, get to know them. What are their strengths? What are they most interested in? And then what are the pieces of work that will give them the best chance to use their strengths, but also to grow and develop them in the things that they are interested in. When you delegate well and you delegate effectively, people love getting things that they can do, that they can sink their teeth into and give an opportunity for them to shine. But if you're holding on to all of that, it's going to bite you on the ass. I know I've said ass already again, but hey, here we are. The other consequence of this is going to cost you more time later because you are going to have to spend all that time getting it done yourself, plus doing your own work. And if you've got too much of the tactical work, you don't actually have enough time for the leadership work, which is, again, primarily your job. And eventually you are going to lose the trust and respect of your team. It's really important to take a step back and think about, how can I learn how to delegate better? How can I best serve my team by delegating the work to them that's going to best grow them? And how can I work on my own mindset to develop my own trust, to develop my own skills in being able to lead well? And again, we cover all of this in VIP Leaders. You will learn how to delegate, you'll learn how to set expectations, and you'll also learn to work on your own mindset around challenging a lot of these fears and worries. Because look, I know that so much of these excuses come from our past experiences, what you've experienced from past managers, how you might have been treated, and it can feel really challenging to show up in the way that you really want to, because those subconscious habits are tough to break. But understanding who you want to be as a leader, knowing that these excuses are holding you back, and working on rewiring them into better habits, better actions that will drive the right results, drive the right performance for yourself and for your team, it's going to pay off tenfold for you. And it's going to help you to become a leader that people actually want to follow, that they trust and that they respect. So those are the three excuses that you really need to work on reframing and learning how to step up, learning how to be a manager that people actually want to trust and respect. All right, those are the three that I wanted to share. I really want to hear, are there any other excuses that you would add, or did one of these really hit home for you? If so, please send me a message on Instagram or LinkedIn. I would really love to hear, or flick me an email. And again, to remind you that this is the last week to enroll for VIP Leaders. We start next Tuesday. So if you want to jump into this last round, now is the time to enroll. If you want to talk to me about it, flick me an email, or you can book a connection call with me through the website as well. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll be back again next week. Hey, that's all from me today. Thank you so much for listening to Lead With Less. It means the world to me if you could take a moment to leave a rating and a review on Apple, or just rate with 5 stars on Spotify. It means a lot to the growth and the expansion of the podcast. And if you know any other people leaders who could do with a dose of inspiration to level up their leadership skills, then please forward on this podcast to them. I would really appreciate it. And as always, if you have any feedback or have any thoughts, please message me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or email. I'd love to hear from you.